Namaskar, welcome to CTET Preparation Mathematics class. I am Manohar H, Senior Research Fellow, Mysore. In today's this session, we will be discussing about mensurations. In that particular dimension, we will be talking about especially concept of area, perimeter, and and also the concept of triangle. So based on the concept of the triangle, how we can identify the area and perimeter when they give through the triangle, and also we will see some of the properties of the triangle. Then if you analyze previous year questions of from these concepts, especially the area, perimeter, and when based on they're asking questions from based on the triangle, so there are almost 2 to 4 questions they have been asking from this chapter. Okay, so especially they're focusing more on triangle validity condition based on the properties of equivalent triangle, and finding the altitude of different types of triangle like isosceles triangle, scalene triangle. Okay, so if you see like more based on applying these formulas, and questions are coming based on the applying these formulas and analyzing conditions. So in this way the previous questions has been asked from the this chapter. Okay, so now let us before we try to solve the problems, let us see. So we try to understand the concept of perimeter, area, with the help of the triangle. Okay, so now, so what is the meaning of perimeter? If you see perimeter, so it is a continuous linear measurement of the outer boundary enclosing a flat in a two-dimensional geometrical shape. Okay, so now if you see, for example, let us assume that okay, in front of your house, or whether your house it is in the form of a square shape or rectangle shape, okay, where you constructed, or triangular shape. Okay, so if you assume that okay, if you want to fence or around your house, which is which is in the form of a square or rectangle, so how do you measure that? How much how much how do you take the measurement? So what is the length you required of the rope or something? Suppose in a school there is a ground which is in the circular shape. Okay, you want to put fencing for the ground. So how do you know that like this much length is required for me? So in such a cases we use the perimeter. Okay, so that means, so perimeter is nothing but where outer boundary of the given shape. Okay, so such as example like square if you take, or rectangle, and rectangular triangle. Okay, so that means, see, this outer part of the shape is called the perimeter. Okay, so now for especially in this triangle, okay, in the given triangle ABC, so what is the perimeter of a given any triangle? So perimeter of any given triangle is equal to A plus B plus C. So where A, B, C are the sides of the given triangle. Okay, so that means a sum of all the three sides. If we add all sum of all the three sides, we can measure the perimeter of the given shape or given triangle. So here, and then let us try to see area. Okay, so what is the area of the triangle? So area of the triangle is where half the area of the triangle means the amount of space is occupied within the triangle. Similarly, the amount of space occupied within the square, the amount of space occupied within the rectangle, the amount of the space which is occupied within the shape. Okay, so that we call it is a area. So now if you look at, if in your house or in your room or study room, wherever, okay, so if you want to paint your wall in your room, the walls, if you want to paint, so how much paint are required? So how do you identify that how much paint is required in order to put a painting of my room, of my house? Okay, so in that such a cases we use the concept of the area. So that means we try to identify concept, apply the area of the area of the given shape, and we'll try to see this much amount or this much liters or this much length is required in order to construct a building or whatever it is. Okay, so here if you take the, especially if you take the triangle here, so the formula of if you take here especially triangle here, the formula of area of the triangle is where A is equal to half into base into perpendicular height. So that means if here A is equal to half into B into H, where B is the base, H is the height which is opposite to the base. Okay, so now perimeter means, simply have remember, perimeter means where we need to add all the sides, where if area means where half into base into height. So if you know the base value, if you know the, so whenever ask in the triangular concepts, okay, if they ask you to identify the area, you need to apply the half into base into height formula. So where they give the base value and H value, and then we can identify that this is the area which is occupied by the given shape, given triangle. So now let us see some of the questions based on these concepts. So the question 1 is like this: the which of the following sets of a length can form a valid triangle? So now, so the question, which of the following sets, the given sets are given in the options, okay? So from that, I mean, which sets having different certain length. From that, we need to verify that whether the given sets length, whether it forms a triangle or not. So that is the question they're asking here. Now, if you see the option A is 3 centimeters. Option B is option A is 3 centimeter, 4 centimeters, 9 centimeters. This is the one side. And option B is 5 centimeters, 6 centimeters, 11 centimeters. Option C is 6 centimeters, 8 centimeters, 13 centimeters. Option D is 7 centimeters, 10 centimeters, 18 centimeters. So if you see here, given options here, so there is a one option which we can form the triangle here. Okay, now let us try to understand the concept of triangle inequality which we have discussed yesterday. Okay, so in order to form a triangle, okay, in order to create a triangle, form a triangle, okay, so what is the condition should be satisfied? There are two conditions which need to be satisfied, which we have discussed in the yesterday. So now for valid triangle with the sides, given sides A, B, C, okay, the sum there are two rules should be satisfied. One is the sum rule should be satisfied, and the another one is the difference rule should be satisfied. Okay, so what is the sum rule here? Okay, so that means in a given three sides like A, B, C or P, Q, R, okay, the sum of the two sides must be greater than the third side. Let us take, for example, you are taking the sides A, B, C, okay. So A plus B, if you take A plus B, this sum of these two sides should be greater than the third side. If we are taking B plus C, B and C as a two sides, okay, so the B plus sum of these two sides should be greater than the other side, which is other side A, okay. Similarly, if you take C plus A, so that means C and A as the other two sides, and C plus A, the sum of these two sides should be greater than the other side. So this is the one condition should be satisfied in order to form the triangle. So along with this, we should also one more condition should be satisfied, but that is the difference rule, okay. So where if you're taking A and A, B, C are the three sides, okay, three sides, and then the difference rule is where A minus B less than the C. So that means if we are taking the side 1 and and side 2, okay, so this side 1 side 2 should be less than the side 3, okay. So that is what you are mentioning here. So A minus B less than the C. Similarly, if you're taking side 2 and side 3 and side 1, okay, so where side 2 minus side 3 less than the side 1, okay. Similarly, side 1 minus side 2 less than the side 3. So that means where B minus C less than the A, where C minus C less than the B. If these conditions are satisfied in a given ABCD length, then we say that then based on the from those length, set of the lengths, we can form a triangle here. Now let us try to see the given options whether we can solve whether we can form a triangle or not. Okay, so now the option A is the given 3, 4, 9, 3 centimeters, 4 centimeters, 9 centimeters. Now if you apply these three, let us assume that A is equal to 3, B is equal to 4, C is equal to 9. Okay, so let us check the sum rule here. Okay, if you take the side 3 and 4, 3 plus 4 equal to 7, where 7 is the less than less than the 9. Okay, it's not a greater than 9. Okay, so then we say that this will not, the option A is obviously it is wrong. Okay, it cannot be formed. Then option 2, you see, even if you check the difference rule also, it will become 9 minus 4 is equal to 5, where 5 is less than the 3. So this is not the correct statement. So option A is the wrong answer. It's not the correct answer. From this option A, we cannot form a triangle. Now let us see the option B. 5 centimeters, 6 centimeters, 11 centimeters. Okay, so if you let us try to see whether these given values satisfy our condition here. Now 5 plus 6, if we take the side 1 and side 2 as a 5 plus 6, 11. 11 it is not greater than the 11, so that is equal. Okay, so but our condition is that sum rule A plus B is greater than the C, so therefore this is also not satisfied. Okay, so but here 11 minus 6 is equal to 5, where 5 less than C, less than 5. Okay, this is also equal, so this is also statement is wrong, it is not satisfied. So therefore second option is also wrong answer. Now if you see the third option, 6, 8, 13. Okay, where 6 plus 8 is 14, 14 is greater than the third side. So if one side is 6 and another side is 8 and side 3 is 13. Okay, now if you add the side 1 side 2, 8 plus 6 is 14, 14 is greater than the 13. So this condition is satisfied. Similarly, if you take 8 plus 3 also, 8 plus 8 plus 13, if you take, okay, it will become 21. 21 is also greater than the other side. Similarly, if you take 6 and 13, okay, 6 and 6 plus 13 is become to 19. 19 is other greater than the other side. So therefore in all the cases the option is correct. Similarly, if we take the difference rule here, 13 minus 8 is equal to 5, where 5 is less than the third side. Again, if you take the case 2, 13 minus 6, okay, that is the 7, where 7 is less than the other 8, less than the 8. So therefore the second case is also satisfied. And if we take the third case where 8 and 6, okay, so that the other side is 13 here. Okay, so 8 minus 6 is 2, where 2 is less than the other side is 13. So therefore in all the three cases this is the satisfied. So so therefore option C is the correct one. Okay, so from based on these 6 centimeters, 8 centimeters, 13 centimeter, we can form a triangle. Okay, so now if you see the last option, and obviously the last option will be the wrong answer. Okay, so where 7, 10, 18. So if you take the case 1 as a 7 plus 10, okay, this is a 17, where it is a less than the 18. So therefore it is a statement is not satisfied in the condition. So but if you take the difference is satisfied, but where in the condition, this condition is a false. Okay, so therefore this is also wrong answer. The correct option is the option C is the correct one. Okay, so based on these we can form a triangle. So whenever they ask the questions based on triangle, when they give the set of length and ask them to identify whether these given sets are can form a triangle or not, you have to remember the concept of triangle inequality. Okay, so in inequality triangle, what will happen? There are two conditions which you need to be satisfied in order to form a triangle. So if remember these two, sum of the rule and difference rule, then verify the given values in this rule, and if it is satisfied, condition is satisfied, then that is the correct answer. So now the next question is, a triangle has two sides of the length that is 7 centimeter and 7 centimeter. So the triangle has two sides. They are given in a given triangle. They have given the triangle. Okay, triangle. Let us assume that it is ABC. Okay, ABC has the two sides of the length 7 centimeter and 7 centimeter. Which type of triangle it is? So it is a concept based question. Okay, so if you remember, there's two sides. Let us assume that the side 1 and side 2 is a 7 centimeter, 7 centimeter based on the question. Now they have given, that means two sides they are given. That side we don't know x. Okay, so but they are asking just which type of triangle is it. Okay, so when they are given like this, we have to say that which triangle. So if you remember what is the concept of equilateral triangle, what is the concept of the meaning of isosceles triangle, the scalene triangle and right angle. So easily we can answer this question. So what will become is the second option 2B is the option for this where isosceles triangle, where both the sides will be the equal. In the equilateral triangle, what will happen? In equilateral triangle, all the sides should be equal. Okay, so here how many sides they are given? Only two sides they are given here. So therefore it is the option 1 is so therefore option 1 is the wrong answer. So if you look at the scalene triangle, what will happen? All sides are different in the scalene. So but here two sides are the same. So this is also wrong answer. If you remember the right angle, what will happen? Right angle triangle should be exactly must be 90 degrees. Okay, in this cases it will not happen. So therefore correct answer option is the isosceles triangle. So remember the two equal sides means isosceles triangle, where all three equal sides means that is equilateral triangle. All sides are different means a scalene triangle. Okay. Then the next question is, in the area of the circumference circle of an equilateral triangle is 25 pi by 3 centimeter square, then the radius of it in circle is how much? Okay, so now they are what they're asking here, the area of, if the area of the circumcircle of an equilateral triangle, where they have given equilateral triangle. Okay, in equilateral triangle, the area of the this is the of circle in equilateral triangle, the value how much it is? 225 pi by 3 centimeter square. Then what is the radius of its incircle is? So then what is the radius from this much we need to identify. The given options are 2 by 3 centimeter, option 1. Option 2 is 4 by 3 centimeter. Option 3 is 5 by 2 root 3 centimeters. Option 4 is 5 by root 3 centimeters. Okay. Now what we need to do here, we need to identify the what is the radius of the incircle of given area of the circumference circle. So that means, so now let us see that, okay, for an A equivalent triangle with the sides A, if they are given, the circumradius R is equal to the formula we need to remember, A by root 3. Similarly, in radius, what is the formula of in radius to identify that R is equal to A by 2 root 3. Okay, so now so let us see that. Okay, so now what is the what are the values they are given here. So we don't know that what is the area of the circum radius. Okay, so let us assume that is the R, and in radius, that is also we do not know, the value didn't give, so let us assume that is the R. Okay, so now area of the circumcircle based on the formula, it is a pi R square. Okay, so where the value they have given here, so that value is pi R square is equal to 25 by 3 centimeter square. Okay, then so from this we can identify the R. Okay, R value we can identify. Okay, so what will become here, so R square is equal to where 25 by 3 into, so this pi will become here, so pi will get cancelled, the remaining value will be the R square is equal to 25 3. So from this again R value we can identify. If we simplify that, so that will become, so when you simplify, how much it will become, so what is the value we will get here. Now if you see here, square root of 25 by 3, so this R is equal to the value of, so this we can be write it as to square root of 25 root of 3. Okay, so root of, since what is the value of root 25, that will become 5, so R is equal to 5 by root 3 centimeters. Okay, so the R value we got it, so this is the R value. Then for an equivalent triangle, the in radius is exactly half of the circumradius, which is this is formula we need to remember, where R is equal to R by 2. So for this we found the R first. Okay, then we got it the R value. Now this is the value which we need to identify. The whenever they given equivalent triangle, the in radius is exactly half of the circumradius. So that means R is equal to R by 2. Okay, so now let us substitute. We know the R value. We got it the R value from the area of the circumcircle. So now if we apply that R value in this formula, then we'll get the solution. Okay, so the where R is equal to half into, okay, where R by 2 means R half into the R value is 5 by root 3. Okay, if we simply multiply this one, 5 in 5 by, we'll get 5 by 2 root 3. 1 into 5 5s, and 2 into root 3 2 root 3, 5 by 2 root 3 centimeters. So which is the option correct here? Option 3 is the correct answer. In these cases, what we have to remember, first try to identify the, so since they are given the value of the area of the circumcircle of equivalent triangle, the value they are given, so from that try to identify the formula, area of the circumcircle, that is pi R square. So then they are asking us to identify the radius of incircle, radius of its incircle they are asking. The formula, the radius of incircle is of R is equal to R by 2. Okay, so that means we should first we should know the R value in order to identify this one. So R value, how we can identify? We can identify from the area of the circle. Okay, so from that if we simplify, we'll get the R value, and then that R value again substitute in this formula, in radius formula, then we'll get the answer. So value of the radius of incircle. So what is the value of the radius of incircle for this concept is 5 by 2 root 3 centimeter. So the next question is, the sides of a triangle are in the ratio 12:5:20. If its perimeter is 94 centimeter, find the length of the smallest side of the triangle. So we need to identify what is the smallest triangle of the smallest side of the triangle. So here 3 values they are given, 3 ratios they are given of sides of the triangle they are given. So that is 12 centimeter, 12:5:20 ratio. The perimeter of the triangle is the value they have given, that is 94 centimeters. Find the length of the smallest side of the triangle we need to identify. Now let the sides be in a given triangle. Okay, in a given triangle. Okay, so in a given triangle. Okay, let us assume that ABC. Okay, where it is 12 and 15, that is in the 20. Okay, so the sides be like 12x, 15x, 20x. Okay, then what is the perimeter they have given here? 94 centimeters. So that means the value of the the sum of the three sides is sum of a plus b plus c is equal to 94 centimeter they have given. Okay, so now what will become here, where a is equal to 12, where b is equal to 15, c is equal to 20. Okay, so now if you sum this if you add this all three sides, that is the what is the perimeter of triangle? Sum of all the sides. Okay, so 12 plus 12x plus 15x plus 20x is equal to 94. Okay, so if we sum this, we'll get 47x by 94, where from this we can identify the x is equal to 94 by 7. The 47 ones are 47 to the 94. The x value we got it the 2. Okay, now very easy. Okay, so now what we have to do, we need to identify the what is the length of the smallest side of the triangle. So which is the out of given values, which is the smallest one? Is it a 12 or is it a 15, 20? We can say that it is a 12 is the smallest value. So now what is the value of that? We are assuming that side is the 12x, where 12 into what is the x value we got it? 2. So if we simplify that, if we multiply, we'll get the 24 centimeter. Okay, what is the correct option here? Option 3 is the correct option, 24 centimeter. Okay, what is the concept they applied here? Concept of the ratio, where the sides of the triangle they have given in the in the ratio, in the form of ratio. Okay, and then they have given the perimeter. We have to identify the smallest one. So we know the, remember the perimeter, what is the perimeter formula? So perimeter formula is where p is equal to, in a given triangle, a plus b plus c. Okay, now the next question is, the sides of a triangle are 3 centimeter, 4 centimeter and 5 centimeter. The area of the triangle formed by the joining the midpoints of the sides of the triangle is, option 1 is 3 centimeter square, option 2 is 6 centimeter square, option 3 is 1.5 centimeter square, option 4 is 0.75 centimeter square. Now which we need to identify. So if you read the question, they have given, so what is the given information here? The sides of the triangle are, so that means the sides of the triangle they have given here, 3 centimeters, 4 centimeters and 5 centimeters. Now the area of the triangle found by the joining the midpoints, okay, from three from these three sides, okay, we need to form a area of the triangle by joining the midpoints. So the midpoints we need to identify the first here. Okay, that is what the visualization we need to get here. So now what is the one value? Let us take the triangle 3 centimeters. Okay, let us assume that AC is equal to 3 centimeter. Okay, AC is equal to 3 centimeter. So what is the midpoint of 3 centimeters? Half of this, so that will become 1.5 something. Okay, but which is not required here. So this is the midpoint for A to the sides of the AB, the midpoint become 2 centimeters, that is here. And similarly for the side BC, the midpoint become 2, the total length of the BC is 5 centimeters, the midpoint become 2.5 centimeters. Okay, so now by joining these three midpoints, we'll get the area. Okay, so we'll get the area. So now that they're asking midpoint of the the area of this value, we need to identify. So how much that is, we need to identify. In these cases, what we will do, let us see now. Okay, so let us assume that the given dimension 3, 4, 5 is 3, 4, 5. So when you see the 3, 4, 5, okay, we can bring the concept of the Pythagoras theorem, where these 3, 4, 5 are the Pythagorean triplet. So that means the given values are satisfy the Pythagorean condition. So therefore it is a right angle triangle. Okay, so where 5 centimeter is the the length of the highest one is the hypotenuse, where other side 4 centimeters adjacent side, and base is the 3 centimeters. Okay, so we can put represent in the form of right angle triangle. So we can also see that whether it is a represent or Pythagoras theorem, or whether it is a Pythagorean triplets or not, by calculating, applying in a Pythagoras theorem, where AC square or hypotenuse square is equal to AC square plus BC square. Okay, or base square plus adjacent other perpendicular square. Okay, so by applying these values, we can also identify. Now what we need to identify here, area of the parent triangle we need to, so that means this area of this triangle we need to identify here. So what is the area of the triangle formula? Where half into base into height. Okay, so where half into base into height, where half into, what is the base value here? 3. What is the height here? They are given 4. Okay, adjacent side height. Okay, So where if you simplify this one, you get 6. Okay, how much? 4 3 are 12. Okay, 2 1 are 2 6. We'll get the 6 centimeter square. Okay, 6 centimeter square. We'll get it. Now, after getting the area of the parent triangle, the first triangle, then by connecting the midpoints, okay, midpoints of any triangle, that is divided into 4 equal subtriangles. So now if we connect this one, okay, the midpoints of this all the 3 sides, okay, it forms again equal subtriangles it will form. Okay, so what is the formula for the midpoint of triangle? Where of 1 by 4, okay, where it connects into 4 subtriangles. So therefore 1 by 4 equal to the area of the parent triangle, okay, the main. So 1 by 4, what is the, how much we got it, the area of the triangle here? 6. Okay, 6, that means 6 by 4. 6 by 4, if we simplify this one, we will get 1.5 centimeter squares, which is option 3 is the correct one, 1.5 centimeter square. Okay, so now even for the simple, okay, so you will directly you can divide by the 4 the given values, original area, then we'll get the given area of the triangle. Now next question is, one side of a triangle is 5 centimeters and the other side is 10 centimeter and its perimeter is p centimeter, where p is an integer. The least and the greatest possible values of p are option 22 and 27, option 2 is 19 and 29, option 3 is 20 and 28, option 4 is 21 and 29. Okay, now if you read the question, one side of the triangle is 5 centimeter. Okay, so the given triangle they have given, okay, a b c, okay, the given triangles, one side is here, how much they're selling 5 centimeters. Okay, 5 centimeters, other side is the 10 centimeter, and its perimeter is p centimeter, where p is an integer. The least and the greatest possible value of p here we need to identify. So perimeter, we need to the greatest and least value we need to identify from the p. Okay, so now if we see, let the we don't know what is the another side. Okay, there are two sides they give, let us assume that is the x. Okay, so by triangle inequality theorem, if you recall the triangle inequality theorem, where two sides are given, another side must be greater than the third side. Okay, so okay, and one more thing is that where difference of another two sides should be less than that one. So now if we take the condition of condition of subtraction here, 10 minus 5, so other two sides, okay, 10 minus 5 less than x. Okay, so that means it will become, and another condition is where it should be greater than that one. In such a case, what will happen? Okay, 5 less than x less than 15. Okay, so that means where if you add a plus b, it must be greater than c, or a minus b less than c. These are the two conditions should be satisfied. Okay, so this is the value we will get, where we get the values between, assuming that 5 and the x value between the 5 and 15. Okay, so that means the x value must be, the x value must be between the 5 and 15. Okay, so what are the values between 5 and 15? Okay, so what will be the values here? 6 7 8 9 10 11 12 13 14. What is the minimum value here? 6. What is the maximum value? 14, excluding 5 and 15. Okay, now perimeter we have to see. Okay, perimeter of the least and the greatest. Okay, so now what is the perimeter of the triangle? Where some of the sides are the sum of the sides, where a plus b plus c is equal to, we know the a, b and c value we have to take for the minimum and maximum. For the minimum, if you see, minimum value is the 6, which is between the 5 and 15. The maximum value is the 14. Okay, now we know that, okay, the sum of three values. Okay, so that means if you add the 5 and 10, 15 plus the third minimum value is 6, that is the 21 centimeter. Okay, and then maximum is what is the value of the maximum? 14. Okay, if you take the, that 5 plus 10 is 15 from the other two sides, then another side is, maximum side is 14, then we will get the 29. So if you see the option here, 21 and 24, option 4 is the correct one. Okay, so whenever they ask to identify the perimeter, given when they give a triangle and ask them to identify another side, maximum maximum value and minimum value, So you can apply this, just try to check the, apply the concept of the triangle inequality, whether given values or assumed values will be, whether to form the triangle or not. Okay, if the condition is satisfied, take the, what is that, the values, x value between the, other two sides. Okay, so that means sum of the two sides, values like 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 till 14 between the values, and see the which is the minimum value, which is the maximum value, and then you try to find out the perimeter for the minimum value, maximum value, and then we'll get the answer. Then the next question is, if the sides of a triangle are 50 meters, 78 meters and 112 meters, then the perpendicular distance from the opposite angles on the side is 112 meter. So what is the given options are, option 1 is 10 meters, option 2 is 30 meters, option 3 is 5 meters, and option 4 is 20 meters. Now what they are asking here, if the sides of the triangle are 50 meters, 78 meters and 112 meter, then the perpendicular distance from the opposite angle on the side is 112 meters. Okay, so now, okay, here if you see the, here they are given two sides, they are given, there are three sides that are given. One is the 50 meters, another one is the 78 meters, another one is the 112 meter. But what is the condition is here, the perpendicular distance from the opposite angle on the side must be 112 meters. If you take this in a triangle, if you take this is a perpendicular here. Okay, so then the opposite to, angle A, it must be 112, I mean the vertex A, 112 meters, that is the condition. So then other 50 meters are another side, 78 meters is another side. Exactly, that means the base should be the 112 meters. Okay, opposite to the height. So now, so what we need to identify, distance from the opposite angle side should be 12 meter. Then that means they are asking us to identify the height of the triangle here. Okay, so now to find, in order to identify that one, let us see apply the formula. Find the semi. First what we have to do, we have to find the semi perimeter we need to identify. Okay, so because we need to identify the height first. Okay, so in such a case what we have to say, semi perimeter we need to identify here. Okay, if the sides of the triangle ABC and the they are given the three sides of the triangle like ABC, then what will become the semi perimeter here, where S is equal to A plus B plus C by 2. Okay, so here if you apply that, what is the, let us assume that where A is equal to 50, B is equal to 78 meter, and C is equal to 112 meter. Okay, now what is the semi perimeter here? If you apply these things, we'll get the total, will get 50 plus 78 plus 112, 112 plus 8, 120, 120 plus 70, 190, 190 plus 50, 120, 240. Okay, so 240 by 2, if we do the perimeter, semi perimeter, will get the 120 meters. Now find the area. So if whenever they're given the area, so if three sides they are given in a triangle, if they ask you to identify the area, the formula of area is where A is equal to square root of S into S minus A, S minus B, S minus A, where S is the semi perimeter. Okay, so we got the S value here to 120 meters. What is the value we got it? 120 meters we got it here. Now try to apply these values and try to simplify the calculate, then we'll get the area of the area will get it. So that is 1600 meters square. Now that means here what is the, let us try to see, understand. Okay, S is 120, and then 120 minus what is the A value, 50, and then S is the 120. Okay, B minus is the 78. Okay, and then 120 minus 112, and then so square root of 120, if we simplify this one, we'll get the 70, and then if we simplify 120 minus 78, if we subtract, we'll get 42, and 120 minus 112 will get the 8. Okay, now we have the this much value. Then again if we simplify this one, so this we can write it as 120, where 2 to the power of square into 2 into 3, and so if we simplify again this one, we'll get the this much. So now if you remove the square, and the final value will get this much. Okay, if you multiply that, we'll get the area is equal to 1680 meters square, we will get it. Okay, now what we have to do, we got it, area we got it. Okay, the value we got it. Now in a given triangle, okay, what is the formula of area? Formula A is equal to area of into base into height. Okay, so that is the value. Okay, so now where base we know from the question they have given, we need to identify the h. Okay, now area also we know here. Now if you apply those, 1680 equal to half into B is 1112, and h. Okay, so this is what we need to identify. Okay, opposite of perpendicular distance of the opposite angle. Okay, for this opposite angle is the a, so this height we need to identify. So therefore h is equal to, so h is equal to how much it will become. So if we simplify this one, this will become 1680 into 1 by 2 base is 112 into h, where if we simplify this one, this will become 56h, 56, 2 ones are 256, yeah, 112, so 56 h is equal, x is 56 h is equal to 1680, where h is equal to 1060 divided by 56. If we 56 and 56 3 is a 160, so 30 is a 1680, so therefore we'll get the h value 30 meters. So what is the option? Option 2 is the correct option for this one. H is equal to 30 meters. So what is the height of this one? 30 meters. Okay, so this is the, so whenever they are given, if three sides ABC in a given triangle, three sides when they give the three sides and ask them to identify what is the height, then first apply, find out the semi perimeter of that of the triangle, and find out the area of that one, area of the triangle. Then we know that, okay, area value we know, so area of the triangle formula we know, where a is equal to half into b into h, but they're asking you to identify the height. Since we know the a area, and then we also know the b from the question, so therefore from that we can identify the height. The next question is, the area of isosceles right angle triangle is 72 centimeters square. What is the length of its hypotenuse? Okay, so the area of isosceles, where isosceles mean where two sides are the equal. Okay, so that they are given, and isosceles right angle triangle they are given, and yeah, so that is a 72 centimeters square. What is the length of the hypotenuse? So in the question itself they're telling that the area of an isosceles right angle triangle, so that means other two sides will be the sides of the other two sides in a right angle triangle will be the same value. Okay, so then we need to find out the h, we need to identify. So where the area of isosceles right angle triangle, the value they are given 72 centimeters square. Okay, so if you see in isosceles right angle triangle, the two legs are perpendicular to each other. Okay, so if you see in a right angle triangle like this, okay, in a right angle triangle, where other side and base and other side, both adjacent sides will be the legs will be the perpendicular to each other. So these are the perpendicular, these are the perpendicular, these are the perpendiculars. Okay, these are perpendicular to each other. Okay, so now, so length of the the length of the legs will be the, we don't know what is the value, they didn't give in the question, so let us assume that these are the x. Okay, now what is the area of the triangle where a is equal to half into base into height. Okay, so we don't know this, what is the x value, so let us assume that of base and base value also we don't know, height value also we don't know. Okay, let us assume that where half is equal to base into height. Okay, where half into base is the x into x, that become x square. Okay, x square is equal to, so that means x square by 2 is equal to 72. Okay, x square by 2 is equal to 72. So where the x square is, so this will go to that side, right answer, it will become into 2. So x square is 144, and where x is equal to 12 centimeters. So x is equal to square root of 144, and x is equal to 12 centimeters. Now we know the x. Okay, so that means we know the x value here. So that means both the sides value, both the sides values we know here. So what is the value here? What is the value here? X value we got it. Okay, so now x in a given right angle, so in a right angle triangle we got it, x value, that is the 12 centimeter, and this is also 12 centimeter. Okay, so this is, we don't know, that we need to hypotenuse, now we need to identify. So how we can identify the hypotenuse? Based on applying the Pythagoras theorem. So what is the Pythagoras theorem? If you remember the Pythagoras theorem here, sum of the squares of the hypotenuse, that means sum of the squares of the hypotenuse is equal to square of the hypotenuse is equal to sum of the squares of other two sides. Okay, so now, so that means where h square is equal to p square plus base perpendicular p square plus b square. Okay, now that means values we got it, we know. If you apply, now if you apply these values, and then we'll get the answer. Okay, so that is h means h square is equal to x square plus x square. Okay, so that h is equal to square root of x square plus x square. We know the value where h is equal to square root of x value, we know that. Okay, so this already we identified. So where that means 12 plus 12 centimeters. Okay, so if you do that one, okay, so x is equal to root 2 x square, where x is equal to root 2, or directly we can also apply 12, then we'll get the h is equal to 12 root 2 centimeters. Here in this case what they have done, directly they didn't apply, the 12. Okay, so they apply directly x value. So that means where h is equal to x square plus x square, this will become a square root of 2x square. Okay, so from this, if you simplify this one, we'll get x root 2. So where this one will get cancelled. This again we can write it as root 2 and root x square. Okay, so this one will get cancelled, we'll get the x root 2. Okay, so what is the x value here? 12 centimeters. Option 2 is the correct option, 12 root 2 centimeters square. So in simply what we can do, if you remember the area of the hypotenuse square by 4. Okay, so if whenever you can area and hypotenuse equations, so just instead of calculating this much, okay, so whenever they ask you to given two sides and ask you to identify the hypotenuse in a given triangle, okay, through the right angle triangle, remember the formula where area is equal to hypotenuse square by 4. Okay, so directly if you apply this one, the given values into this. Okay, so that means 72 by h square by 4, where x square is equal to 288, where h is equal to square root of 288, and then if you simplify this one, we'll get the direct answer. Okay, within the 30 seconds we can solve this. Then the next question is, if a base of a triangle is increased by 40% and its corresponding altitude is, that means altitude is height, for it is decreased by 40%, then what is the net percentage change in its area? So if you see the question here, if the base of a triangle is increased by 40%, base of a triangle, okay, so that means in a given triangle, given triangle, the base is increased, so that base is increased 40%. Okay, then where h is decrease 40%. So what is the net percentage change in its area? Options are no change. Option 2 is 16% increase. Option 3 is 16% decrease. Option 4 is 8% decrease. Okay, so let us see which is the correct one. So we do not know what is the initial base did they give. They didn't give anything, only they have given the base is increased 40% and the height is decreased by the 40%. So let us assume that initial base is, let base is the b and height will be the h. Okay, so now what will become the initial area of the triangle here? So the area of initial triangle, what will become? So we know the formula area of the triangle, where half into b into h. So now that will become half into b into h. Okay, as same. Okay, and then now we need to identify after the base is increasing 40% and height is decreasing the 40%, what will become the area of the new base, we have to identify. Okay, so that means it will become, if assume that where b is equal to 1 centimeter, h is equal to 1 centimeter, let us assume that. Okay, in the new base, so that will become, the base will become the base will become 1.40, 40% increasing, that means 1.40. The h is reducing 40 percentage, so that means it become a 0.60. Okay, so now if you apply these values in the formula in order to identify the area, where half into b into h, we know the half value is half into b value 1.4 b, and the h is 1.60 h. Okay, so now if you simplify this one, we'll get 1.4 into 6.2 where b into h. Okay, now so if you simplify, multiply this one, we'll get the 0.84 into half into bh. Okay, so now what they're asking to find the height, what is the net percentage. Net percentage means what we have to, from the percentage, the total percentage, we need to subtract that one. So the area dropped from the 100% to 80% is that means, so this is the original value of that one, we need to identify. So total 100%. Okay, so that means 0.884 we got it. Okay, so that means 84% is the reducing. So if you do that, subtracts 84% from the total percentage, we will get the 16%. Okay, so assuming that this is the 100%. Okay, so from that 84% is decreasing, that is the d value. So when you subtract that, okay, the net percentage will come. So what is the net percentage here? 16% is the value. So 16% is decreasing. Instead of calculating this much, in a shortcut, what we can do here, find out what is the new area and original area. Okay, so we know that, okay, the change in percentage increasing 40%, and 1 plus 40 and 1 minus 40 for the height. Just substitute these values and we'll get the solution. So always area is proportional to the base and height in such a cases, where area of the triangle is directly proportional to the product of its base and height. So when base is height change independently, the new area is also proportional to the product of their new values. The next question is, the perimeter of a right angle triangle is 60 centimeters and its hypotenuse is 26 centimeters. Find the area of this triangle. So what we need to identify, perimeter they are given. Okay, so we need to identify the area, we need to identify area of the triangle we need to identify. So remember, the area of the triangle is where A is equal to half into base into height. So what are the values they are given here? The perimeter of a right angle triangle is 60 centimeters. The value, the perimeter total value they have given, but they didn't give you the sides values, they didn't give here sides. We need to identify that one. And its hypotenuse, only hypotenuse in a right angle triangle, hypotenuse they have given, that is the 26 centimeters. From that we need to identify the area of the triangle we need to identify. So what is the options they are given here? Option 1 is the 120 centimeter square, option 2 is the 60 centimeter square, option 3 is the 240 centimeter square, option 4 is the 130 centimeter square. Now let the others, we don't know that what are the two other sides in a right angle triangle, only the hypotenuse they are given. So therefore let us try to identify the other two sides. So what the condition they have given here, the perimeter of a right angle triangle, okay, so 60 centimeters. So that means the hypotenuse they are given, hypotenuse h as they are given, and the total of that perimeter they are given, that is the 60 centimeters. Now perimeter equal to a plus b plus 26 equal to 60. So that means where area perimeter of the triangle, what is the perimeter of the triangle is a plus b plus c. They are given only the c value they are given in a right angle triangle. A b they didn't give. So therefore a plus b 26 is equal to the what is the value perimeter, 60 centimeters, that they are given. Okay, so now from this, if you simplify this one, 60 minus 26 34, where a plus b is equal to 34 centimeters, that is the perimeter, the a plus b value. Okay, now by the Pythagoras theorem, okay, so where a plus b square, a square plus b square is equal to 26 square. So 26 square, the value of 26 square is 676. Okay, now using the, so we can also apply the again algebra identity here, where a plus b square is equal to a square plus b square plus 2ab. Okay, so we know the a plus b. So since why we are applying algebra identity here, because we know the value of here a square plus b square. Okay, we know the value of a plus b here. Okay, so now when you apply these values here in this, we'll get the where ab is equal to 240. We will get where a plus b whole square is equal to, that means a plus b value we know, that is the 34 square. Okay, so we know the a square plus b square value 676. We don't know the 2ab value. Okay, so we need to identify that one. So when you simplify this one, okay, 34 square is 1156, and this 676 will send it to left hand side, so therefore we can subtract. So in order to identify the 2ab, okay, variables here. So in such a case, what will become here, where 2ab is equal to, if you subtract 1156 minus 676, the value will become a 480. So now we need to find the ab value. Ab is equal to 480 by 2. If we do that, we will get the 240 we will get. Now we know that, okay, ab value we know. Okay, so now what we need to identify, we need to identify the area we need to identify. Okay, where so here we are applying algebra identity concept, and we are applying area of the triangle. Area of the triangle, what is the formula here? Half into a into b. What is this a into b? This is the only value. A into b is the 240. So therefore 1 by 2 into 240, if we do, we will get 2 ones are 12, 2 ones are 2, and 2 fours are 2 twos are 4. So 120 will get, that is the 120 centimeter square. What is the correct option here? 120 centimeters. Which is the correct option? Option 1 is the correct option, 120 centimeter square. So what they are trying to do here, they are given a perimeter of the right angle triangle and hypotenuse they are given. Okay, so from that we can identify the other two sides we can identify, A and B value we can identify. Okay, so how we are identifying? We are applying the Pythagoras theorem also, and we are also, since they are given a plus b whole square, they are given a square plus b square values from that. So we are trying to apply the algebra identity of the a plus b whole square formula, where a square plus b square plus 2ab, and from that we know a plus b whole square we know, and a square b square also values we know. Okay, we identified. Then we need to identify the 2ab, so which is ab is nothing but again area of the triangle, where we need the two sides. Okay, so area is equal to formula we know of into a into b. So the ab value apply, then we'll get the area of the triangle. Okay, now the next question is, the sides of a triangle are in the ratio 3:4:5. What is the ratio of their corresponding altitudes? They are given in a given triangle. The sides of the triangle they are given as 3:4:5. What is the ratio of their corresponding altitude, the height? Okay, so in a given right angle triangle, if you see ABC here, ABC, okay, if you see here, the altitude of the each side, okay, so altitude of the each opposite to height is the opposite to that side. Okay, so for this A, the altitude will be the h1, and let us assume that this is a h1. For B, the h2. For C, this is for altitude of C, h3. Okay, that is the value. Okay, and then they're asking to identify corresponding altitude. What is the ratio of these corresponding values we need to identify? Okay, so how we can do? By applying the formula. So let the sides of the triangle, let us assume that ABC, because they didn't give any values here. Okay, so let us assume that these are the ABC, and the corresponding altitude they have given h1, h2, h3. Okay, now the total area of the triangle is, okay, from that we can identify that where h1 is equal to area of the triangle we know, where half into h1, where A is the base and h1 is the height. Okay, so for each one it will become area of the triangle half into h1 equal to half into bh2 and half into ch3. For each three we are taking area of the triangle here. Okay, so where h1 for this triangle h1, this is the h1, this is the base. For this is the base, and this will become the height. For this is the base, this will become the height. Okay, this will be the height. Okay, so for this, now for each triangle the area of so area of the triangles are constant. Okay, where A is equal to half into h1, half into bh2, half into ch3. now this we can write it as AH1 equal to BH2 CH3, where this half K is the constant. Okay, so in this, from H1 is equal to, we can write it as K by A, constant by A, and H2 is equal to constant by H3 is equal to constant by C. Okay, so now the ratio of the altitude what they are given is the, so in such cases the ratio of the altitude is the inverse of the ratio of the sides. Okay, so that means ratio altitude what will become, if A is equal to 3, then the inverse of that altitude will become how much will become 1 by 3. Okay, similarly if B is equal to 4, then the inverse of the altitude will become 1 by 4. Okay, so if C is equal to 5, the inverse will become 1 by 5. Okay, so now we apply this values h1, h2, h3 values, and then we'll get the solution here. So what is the h1? We got it here 1 by 3. So given AB said 3:4:5. So then altitude is, they are saying that it is the inverse of the height. Okay, so where 1 by 3, 4 is 1 by 4, 1 by 5. Okay, now take the LCM of 3, 4, 5. So that means we'll get 5 4s are 20, 20 into 3, 60. Okay, so now multiply with that. Okay, so 1 by 3 into 60 will get the 20. So where is the 20 option? C, third is the 20 is, okay, 20. Then for 1 by 4 into 60, if you do this one, we'll get 4 ones are 4, 15 are 15. Okay, so option D. Then 5 into 5, 4, 5 12s are 16, 5 12s are 60. Okay, so we'll get the 12. Okay, so now if option, if you see 20 is to 15 is to 12, this is the correct option. So instead of calculating like this, directly if you remember the concept here, write the ratios, given ratios 3:4:5. Okay, when they ask you to what ratio of the corresponding altitude heights, that means it is opposite to the given ratios. Okay, so I mean inverse of the given values. In such a cases, it will become 1 by 3, 1 by 4, 1 by 5. Okay, so then take the LCM and find the values, directly will get the answer. So with this, these are the concepts which we have discussed in this session. The concepts which we have discussed in this session is triangle inequality rule and perimeter theorem, and then where we identify the area and altitude by applying the Heron formula. And then we also we have seen some of the problems, percentage in change in area and the ratio of altitudes. Okay, when they give the ratios, ask them to identify the height of that one altitudes, we also seen. And we also recall some of the formulas such as perimeter, where P is equal to A plus B plus C, and the semi perimeter where S is equal to A plus B plus C by 2. And then Heron's formula, where we applied this formula in identifying the area of the triangle, where A is equal to square root of S minus A into S minus B into S minus C. And we use the area of triangle formula, where half is equal half into, where A is equal to half into base into height. Okay, so these are the concepts which we have discussed, and we also seen what is the equilateral triangle, isosceles triangle, scalene triangle, where equilateral triangle is all sides are equal and all angles will be the 60 degrees, where isosceles triangle is two sides are the equal and base angles are the equal. Okay, so that means when two sides and two angles will be the equal, where scalene triangles all sides are the unequal, all angles are the different. So these concepts which I have discussed, remember all the formulas whenever they give the questions based on the triangle, and they ask them to identify the area and perimeter and ratios. So you can apply these formulas and concepts and short tricks. Okay, धन्यवाद.